Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about how to actually master the process of customer discovery. How do you actually discover the customers, who your ideal customers are, and what product they want, what their needs are, and how do you meet those needs. We're talking about that today. At the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it takes to get the startup right each and every time you start a new company. I believe you already know that you should know who your customer is. Since you already have your own business or you are in the process of having one, you should already know that you should know who your customer is and what is it they need to be solved. What their problem, their pressing problem is, the one which they are ready to pay if the solution is present. Okay, something you should know about startups is that startups are based on hypotheses. They're based on the vision of the founder or the founders. The founder has a certain vision of a product that he or she wants to deliver on the market. But then the product is the hypothesis itself. The customer is the hypothesis. The channel, distribution channel, the market type, etc. So how do you actually move from hypothesis to facts? How do you turn the hypothesis into facts? That's what you should do. Now let's talk about the types of hypotheses you have in your startups. The first hypothesis you have is your product. You don't actually know what features you should include in your product. All the features you think you should include are your hypothesis. It might turn out that the actual end users don't really appreciate some or all of those features. Sometimes they may not appreciate all of them. So you should know a startup is just a hypothesis. So the first one is the product hypothesis. As we've said, the product hypothesis has other hypotheses like the product features, the benefits that are provided by those features, and the total cost of ownership of that product or service. Things like training. Does the user need any sort of training before they can actually use your product? What else do they need to buy before they buy your product or after they did buy your product so that they can get the full benefits? That's the product hypothesis. Number two, the customer hypothesis and their needs. What are their needs? In fact, let's start with the customer. Who's the customer? Sometimes it's not straightforward and clear who the customer is, because like let's take an example of, let's say you're selling cars. If you're selling cars, your customer is not your end user, so your customer does not actually understand the needs of the end user. If you are selling cars, you don't sell to the actual end user, you are selling to the dealers. So your customers your customers, this is crazy, your customers are the car dealers, the car dealerships. Now, but the end user is not actually your customer. Your customer is the dealership, the one who will buy the cars from you, and then the end user will buy the cars from the car dealerships. Now, this is more complicated than when you're selling something directly to the end user. So you should take that to account too, who your customer is and what needs do they have. Now, if you are selling cars, you can't go to the car dealerships and ask what problems they have, the features they need in the car, and the benefits that will be provided by those features, because it's not like they will use those cars. They just buy the cars so that they can sell to the end users. If you want to know what benefits, what features to incorporate on your services or products, you should talk directly to the end user, the one who will actually interact directly with the product or the service, not someone who is a middleman. The other hypothesis on startups is the pricing and the distribution strategy or the distribution channel. Now, the pricing, think about it. Who tells you how to price your product? Some people check the competition and then try to price their product according to the competition. Now, if you do that, it means your product is not that different from the competition. It's a me too actually. You shouldn't do that. You should innovate something which has a competitive advantage. If you have a competitive advantage, it means you can think of your own price. You can price your own products the way you like. But then, just because you price them the way you like doesn't mean that price is a fact or is valid. Now, if customers don't want to buy the product at that certain price, if they say it's expensive, it means the features and the benefits that are provided by those features, the value SKU is not that superior such that it should be priced at that certain level. It means you should try to lower your price or increase the value you provide. So you should know when you price something, it's a hypothesis. It's not a fact. You don't actually know if the price is fair enough. So customers will tell you. Customers will tell you if your price is priced fairly. If you're finding any value from this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can get more of the content like this. Thank you. Okay, let's jump right in again. Another hypothesis on startups is demand creation. How do you actually create demand for a product or service? How will you do it? Many people say they will market on social media and on Google and by Facebook and Google Ads and all that, but that doesn't create demand for a product. Marketing only doesn't create demand for a product. I heard someone say marketing only make the bad product fail faster. Demand is not created by marketing. Demand is actually created by the value you provide and how well you treat the existing customers so that they can tell others. If you can skew enough value such that each and every customer cannot close the mouth about your product, it means that you we have skewed enough value such that the customer can be your evangelist. He or she can sneeze about your product without you paying any additional amount of money in marketing. Now this is crazy because if someone gets enough value from your product or service, she might go to a certain social media platform and post about your product, and then enough people will find out, and then they will visit your site and buy your product or service because they trust that person. It's their peer. He or she knows what exactly they want. So it's a good recommendation when a peer can recommend something to you. It's not like a certain marketing campaign where someone will tell you to buy something you might not actually need. So that's it. Other hypothesis in startups is the market type. Which type of market are you in? Are you in a new market? Are you planning to enter a new market or to create a new market? Or are you entering an existing market and trying to resegment it? Or are you entering the existing market as a competitor, direct competitor, exact same features with other competitors who are already players in the market? What are you doing? If you say your product is entering a new market, you are creating a new market, a market that does not exist, it without actually checking if those are facts, you might end up getting out of business as soon as you start because you didn't actually turn your hypothesis into facts. How do you know if you are entering a new market, entirely new market? If you're entering an entirely new market, it means there's no customer available for you. You are going to create customers yourself by convincing people that they need your product. If you're entering an existing market without changing anything, just entering as a direct competitor, it means you know your market exists, there are customers who are ready to buy your product, but then the downside is that there's tough competition already established. They have enough customers. Now you are trying to take customers from them. You're fighting with them. It's a it's a competition. I wouldn't advise you to enter a direct market as a direct competitor, because when you fight for profits, you might end up getting none. As a business, you don't actually have to fight for profit with other businesses. You should fight to serve your customers as best as possibly as you can, instead of just fighting with others. You should innovate, create the future. Don't fight by reacting to how others have designed certain features, and you also chase them and design those features too. Don't be a me too.
Competition kills.
Don't compete. Competition kills profits, it kills motivation, it kills industries. Don't compete. Try as best as you can to think of how you can add value to your customers in a different way from others, as others do. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bonus point, the bonus point that will make the difference and change everything. Let's get to it. Now, before I get to the bonus, let me ask you the question of the day. The question of the day is, do you believe actually every startup is the hypothesis and startups are based on hypothesis? Do you believe when I say that, or you believe the opposite? Do you believe that startups know what they are doing, they know who their customers are, and they know what product to build, they know the marketing strategy, they know everything? It's just that they die because they don't have customers or because of a bad product? Or you believe that it's actually the hypothesis that's the best way to approach it, so that you can learn? As a startup, you want to learn. You don't build your product to educate customers. You want to learn from them what they want. Do you believe that, or you believe otherwise? And here is the bonus, guys, for sticking with us until the end of the video. Here's the bonus. And the bonus is another hypothesis we didn't talk about, which is the bonus for today, is the competition. As a startup, you don't actually know who your competition is. You don't know who your competitors are. If you believe you know who your competitors are, it's because you think your product will serve the certain needs and benefits for the customer, which might not be the case. As a startup, you actually, I want to give you an example. You're selling shoes, and you believe that you're competing with bigger brands like Nike and Adidas, and you find out that your shoes are actually for females, and they are meant to be worn on weddings. Do you actually believe that Nike and Adidas have female shoes for weddings? That's not your competition. You should check actually who the competition is. And the best way to do that is to get in the market and actually find out who the competition is. You can't know by pointing out at people who are doing something almost similar to what you do. And guys, thank you for watching today's video. I appreciate it. I'll see you on the next video. I hope you got the value out of this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscription button. There's a red button below the video, and actually like the video if you like the content you just received. Thank you.